DWYANE GAMBINO comes to another reaction video. Need to chime in, shit that sub on. You can smash that notification bell. Yo, boy who murdered his neighbor for tick. This is why I need TikTok gone, man. You got child molesters, child predators, murderers, idiots. Too much, too much, too much.
Latham allegedly stabbed 52-year-old Timmy.
And this is real inside edition still.
Aggravated manslaughter.
Who drives 100 miles an hour through a residential neighborhood?
What are you gonna do, Karen? Single-minded goal of becoming famous on TikTok.
And he was a veteran?
Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how an 18-year-old kid from Vineland, New Jersey ended up in jail for murdering his neighbor because his thirst for clout got the best of him. You know, it's a really tragic line of events and was completely...
Oh shit, complex, this is real.
Was taking place, but that never happened. One small problem spiraled out of control and eventually turned into a chaotic shitstorm that couldn't be stopped once things got too far. And I first heard about this story from a viewer of mine who messaged me on Instagram saying, "Hey Destiny, you probably have seen this or not, I want you to react to it. I know it happened 2 months ago, but I just heard of it now." And she linked me a video saying, "Did teen kill neighbor to become famous on TikTok?" I even stopped watching the video because I can watch you react to it, so please do. And by the way, I don't really do reaction videos, but obviously
that's what I'm here for.
Whose name that I'm not going to even try pronouncing in fear of butchering it really wanted me to look into the story and that is exactly what I did. I investigated to see what happened.
I just claim I'm a litter and just keep it pushing.
I seriously had to roll my eyes after reading up on the entire situation. So basically what happened was this 16-year-old kid named Zachary Latham moved into his grandparents' house on Thornhill Road in Vineland, New Jersey, and quickly got into some beef with his new neighbors after Mr. Durham, the husband and father who lived next door, complained to Zach's grandparents about his alleged reckless driving once he got there. And you know how some kids are.
I see. No, even though he did was it's fun. I hate the neighbors that complain with the niggas that drive. You feel me now? If you're a young kid, you get a nice fast car, you gonna push it. You gonna. But for the young kids that do get cars, when you get in a residential area, you shouldn't be pushing on the main roads, whatever. Hey man, each his own. Do your thing. I can't sit here and if you live that life, you live that life. You feel me? So on streets, do your thing. I say highways. I tell people don't even do it on streets. On the highway, when it's more clear, less cars, experience your car that way. Try to avoid the cops. In the residential there, you don't know when the little kids are playing, they running around, whatever. But we all been that young kid. Before we get home, there's that little strip. We go for 0 and we go 100. We just go crazy.
Their license, they act like they've never been in a car before and start driving around like they're in Mario Kart. But based on my understanding, after the talk that Mr. Durham had with Zach's grandparents ended, Zach's grandpa pulled him to the side and was like, "Hey yo Zach, come over here B. You gotta stop all that crazy driving you doing around my hood before me and the missus decide to put your ass back on the street." And basically, they forced Zach to go on over to Mr. Durham's house and apologize for driving around the neighborhood.
Damn.
That just got his license for the first time. However, based on what I've gathered,
commentary.
The story deeper, Zach's apology was filled with nothing but lies, and soon after that, he quickly went back to his antics and continued on throughout the community with his reckless driving. Mr. Durham, now seeing that Zach really didn't care and completely dismissed what had happened earlier today as if he was a dementia patient with short-term memory loss, got really annoyed. And his impression of Zach being his new neighbor in his neighborhood plummeted into a deep, dark, fiery hole of hell that could never return. From that point on there, he really did not like Zach. And that is when everything started to go downhill and was the catalyst for what would one day start a bloody fight that would end up taking Mr. Durham's life. And I think it's very important for me to clarify that the killing of Mr. Durham didn't just happen out of nowhere. It wasn't a random occurrence of unlucky events that led to this deadly altercation between Mr. Durham and Zach. Because what most people fail to realize is that after the initial confrontation 2 years ago, there were many more small fights, arguments, and skirmishes between Mr. Durham, his family, and Zachary Latham. Like, this thing has been boiling up for a while now, and tensions have been rising. Like, for example, a month before the killing, on April 6th, Latham recorded himself embroiled in a heated confrontation with Mr. Durham's wife, Catherine, in which he, in a video that I'm going to show you guys in like a second, calls her Karen over and over again after she complains about his wild driving.
What are you gonna do, Karen?
That's not my name, so get my name straight. Go ahead.
You okay, Karen? Go ahead, get my tag.
No,
Get my tag, Karen.
my name is not Karen. So get my name straight.
Get my tag, it's okay.
A45MFA.
And after posting that clip, he went viral on TikTok. That specific clip accumulated over 3 million views on his TikTok account, and the people who commented on the video were suggesting that he cut her tires, egg her house, and continue to mess with her even more. Like, you can imagine.
Yo, this is one thing I want to say about this internet shit. Lovely Peaches is another example. Y'all little kids are egging, like, even to gangster niggas. Like, y'all see niggas beefing, y'all want to egg on beef. Like, if you guys see someone doing something reckless, nah, the Karen shit, like, this is unfortunate because this video I can't really say is the example I'm trying to use. But if you give someone who has a bad past something, they're gonna double down on it to try to increase that more. So he saw the Karen shit. And he probably said he's gonna fuck with him. I'm not saying he said I thought he's gonna kill him. I don't know. I need to listen to the rest of the vid. See, that's where he went right after this video. That's kind of crazy. But I just think he probably thought he's gonna start fucking with them more to get more content. And they probably built into something crazy because it's real life people that don't want to be,
people actually enjoyed his destructive behavior.
Memed on the internet.
They actually found it entertaining, especially when considering that most of his previous videos got no more than 150 likes at most. Inside his mind, he was probably thinking that this was his time to shine, and he was actively thinking of new ways to
get content.
Next door neighbors.
Exactly.
And days later, though, Zach actually pulled up to Mrs. Durham's house and shouted, "Hey Karen, we went viral." Obviously trying to get inside Mrs. Durham's head by taunting her.
Go viral.
Introducing the new
This guy's Fabio.
Just
This guy went over to us and go viral.
And actually, in another video that I saw that he recorded, it shows him having a confrontation with William Durham Jr., which is her 21-year-old son, as he walks up to Zach's car, saying, "Get out of the car, bro." And then Zach responds back by saying that he's armed with a knife. And then he took that video, which he recorded, posted it to his TikTok with a description, "Karen's son found the video, went viral, and tried taking me out of the car." And actually, in an article, it says here, police responded to this incident and took accounts from both Durham and Latham, but no charges were filed according to an investigation.
Yeah, because he's just doing shit for content.
It also says he has also blown her a kiss as he sped by while driving to his house. So obviously, he was just continuing to mess with her and trying to taunt her, you know, trying to get a reaction out of her. That's the kind of guy that he is. You know, this Zach guy, whoever the fuck he is a straight up dickhead. Like, he's an actual asshole. And to be honest, I would never want someone like him to be my neighbor because, like,
that's real shit, though.
We would definitely be fighting every other week if he was on some bullshit like that while living right next door to me.
And especially my Duke told him to chill out.
Articles about this guy and who he is, I couldn't find much. Like, information about his life and his personal background was pretty sparse. However, after doing a little digging, I found out that this guy Zach was emancipated at 17 and was a soldier in the army serving as a National Guard private at 18. Which is ironic, since being a part of the National Guard means your job is to serve and protect your state, country, and community, and not terrorizing and being a nuisance to your next door neighbors.
Young kid.
I also found some images of him from his TikTok account that makes him look like a straight up egocentric kid. As you can see here in this image, it says 350Z owner, I love 5W-30. Is that a Tome dog? Society, neighbors hate you, cuts everybody off. What are blinkers? Road rage, loud exhaust, my DE will smoke your HR. Is this how douchebags communicate with each other? In another image, it says, people in the army, because he's a National Guard in the army, he says, drives a Mustang or Camaro with 20% APR. I can drink more than you. Gets called stuck up, always loud, chair force, anger issues, has guns, likes to party. So clearly this guy's an asshole. And he's making it out to seem as if these personality traits are actually cool. Pretty weird. And another image, it says, owning a Corvette. By the way, I don't know how you have all these cars at 17, but I guess good for him. Daddy's money was the speed limit, won a race, revs at the red light, gets heated on for having a nice car. Ew, a Mustang, stuck up. Yeah, this guy is basically like the epitome of everything I hate about people, personified. He apparently also has a history of simple assault, terroristic threats, and criminal mischief on his juvenile record. So when taking that into account as well, Zach is obviously a troublemaker. And you want to know what the crazy thing is? The Durham family was trying to sort this whole thing out the legal way via the courts and through the law enforcement, but the police weren't helping very much and said that COVID-19 made the courts close. As stated here, the Durhams, their lawyers wrote, sought help from the Vineland police several times, but were
The cops are
repeatedly told that
trash,
they could
bro.
not sign a complaint
The cops
against
are
Mr.
fucking
Latham
trash.
since the courts were closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. And by the way, I get that the coronavirus was very tragic, is very tragic, as it's still going on, and you know, we gotta take it seriously, but
if you go over and you just couldn't just. I guess they did talk to both parties. I think they just try to use communication as a way. But you gotta be real. It's white privilege. They're not really going on. Like, if it was a black person, they would try to throw him ass in jail. You know, have a cop sit on that corner. Let's be honest, man. That was a black guy. The cop is sitting there. They're gonna have a cop sitting there every single day. Cause it's a nice white neighborhood. It's two white people arguing. They thinking, yeah, man, it's just little tips. Just little tips.
are we really just gonna sit here and disregard the legal complaints from a person who's in desperate need of help from a dickhead next door neighbor who's obviously terrorizing them? Like, where do you get help if not from law enforcement? The deceased father's legal team notes that a judge and several cops live in the area and knew about the past trouble Latham had caused. Latham even shared a video of a police officer confirming that he won't take any action even though he saw video evidence. It's unclear which incident he is addressing.
Thanks. You were arrested. But you won't do anything even though you saw video proof, correct? Correct. Okay. For your video, that is correct. Thank you. Say what's up, TikTok. TikTok? Yeah, say what's up.
So my question is, what do you do when you're trying to do things the right way, but there's no one around?
Cop's not talking to a nigga like that. That's keeping it
especially
1,000.
after 2 whole years. Well, you try and take matters into your own hands. Unfortunately, though, things went sideways for Mr. Durham when he tried to do just that. Because on May 4th,
That's a national guard. You fucked up.
Latham was. Zach allegedly swerved his car onto the side of the road where Mr. Durham's 17-year-old son was riding his bike. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh,
Mr.
wait,
Durham
what?
had enough and decided to finally confront Zach face to face like a man after 2 years. And especially considering that Zach was no longer a child and was now 18, I suppose he was no longer in fear of being charged with child abuse if things turned physical.
So wait.
As stated,
Now, is this true though? Did he I don't get it. Why would a kid just be riding a bike and he just goes on the side of the what's the kid riding on the road? Maybe I heard that wrong. Let me go back. I heard that wrong.
fourth being the asshole that
Oh,
Zach
shit.
Latham was. Zach allegedly swerved his car onto the side of the road where Mr. Durham's 17-year-old son was riding his bike. And that was the
Okay,
straw
so he wasn't
that
on the
broke
sidewalk, he was on the
camel's back.
road.
Mr. Durham had enough and decided to finally confront Zach
Oh,
face
yeah,
to face
yeah,
like
yeah.
a man after 2 years. And especially considering that Zach was
That's
no
a national-
longer a
Oh,
child
bro.
and was now 18, I suppose he was no longer in fear of being charged with child abuse if things turned physical. As stated here though, after Zach, basically tried to hit his son, Mr. Durham pulled his truck into the street to block Latham's truck. Catherine Durham, his wife, recording the exchange on her phone, challenged Latham over the incident involving her son. Video footage shows Latham throwing an elbow at Catherine Durham, pushing her back, knocking the phone from her hand, and speeding off toward his home. And then when Latham got to his house, his wife, because he's actually married at 18, which is weird, who was recording the
'Cause-
scene with her phone.
When you're in the army, it's there's so much benefits you get more when you're married.
Walked down the
Well, literally
driveway
what
to
it was.
confront the Durhams.
She said for life.
As they came
I
onto
said for
the
a good
property,
time.
because the whole family was actually involved in the situation. They went over there like a squad trying to confront Zach about, just everything that happened.
And he body y'all? He about to get pops? Oh my god. Oh, nah. I couldn't be there with my pops and I see my pops get but nah.
For the course of 2 years.
And with no guns involved?
Zach's wife told the Durham sons that they had better back up because they were not going to like what was coming out of the house. So obviously she was threatening the entire family. Soon after, William Durham, their father and the husband, arrived with his truck. Latham's public defenders say in their filing that he and his wife can be heard on the video footage clearly telling the Durhams several times to get off the property, and they are not welcome. The Durhams, their hands visibly empty, continued to approach, the prosecution filing says. So now the Durhams had crossed the line from their property to Latham's grandparents' property.
Yeah, you can't go on another nigga's property and not expect to get by. Like, hey, the man feels threatened. You're at the man's crib. That's a safe haven. And in America, that shit's even weirder than down here. But I wonder if we got trialed. Like, I don't know how the shit went. It's kind of juicy. Like, it's sad. It's a tragic story, but just
got back home.
It's just to show you that, like, how things like this, when people watch it, it's not going to be perceived the right way. Like, a little kid watching this might actually take this and just figured, well, if I don't body the neighbor and just troll the shit on my neighbor, I could be TikTok famous. Like that's like, if he didn't, like, think about it, he did all of that, and if he didn't kill his neighbor, it would have been straight. If he just closed the door and let them just bang on the door, break glass, something like that, they will get charged. He makes the video, like, he have thought of it a little differently, but with him being a National Guard, he's not backing up for no man. Like, you feel me? So I don't know.
After speeding off earlier in the story, he actually went inside his house, got a couple of knives and his stun gun, and came back outside to confront the Durham family. So clearly this kid wanted to fight. He wanted the smoke. He wanted to get down and dirty, and things went bad.
He wants to scare them.
Going back outside, he confronted the family and fired his stun gun at one of the sons. It then says William Durham then grabbed at Latham, who slashed him in the right arm with his knife before retreating in his garage. So obviously, this is exactly where things started to go really crazy. Both Mr. Durham and Zach were in the heat of the moment. Their adrenaline levels must have been through the roof, and they were in full-on battle mode. But it didn't stop there, because after that happened, apparently Mr. Durham had followed Zach toward the garage that Zach was heading to. It then says here, a brief but violent melee then ensued, during which the stun gun was fired repeatedly and Latham's wife urged him to drop the knife. So yeah, you can imagine. Sarah, this 18-year-old kid's wife, was recording the whole thing, and once I reveal why she was recording this entire thing to begin with, you guys will be disgusted. Unfortunately though, in a horrific line of events, Mr. Durham was stabbed under the armpit, puncturing his lungs in what was thought to be the fatal wound that killed him. Perry, Latham's lawyer, did not respond to requests for comment on the suggestion that his client had lured William Durham to his death in hopes of gaining social media notoriety. Because as it stands right now, their lawyers, the lawyers that represent Mr. Durham's family, they genuinely believe that the whole reason for Zach continuously trying to mess with the Durham family was to get reactions out of them so that he could then record them.
Yeah. Yes, that is very true. But how did he lure him if he's walking away and the guy's following him after he just his son on the arm?
Posted his TikTok and tried to become TikTok
that
famous.
Is the sick part of it.
In this instance, I absolutely do believe TikTok did have a role to play in the way that things ended up in the situation. Zach's own narcissism, ego, mixed in with weird-ass people in his comment section telling him to continue to keep fucking with his neighbors, led directly to this tragedy.
Little
but in my
kids
opinion,
seeing
it's
trolls.
not even TikTok's fault necessarily.
No, not the
because
apps.
in my
People.
opinion, TikTok is just a symptom of a larger pre-existing condition that we've had in our society ever since people figured out that they could gain fame from social media. The idea of getting famous on social media is like an intoxicating drug that takes over your entire body once it enters your bloodstream. And just the thought of being able to do something wild to capture the attention of millions of people across the world, really has got some people hooked like a fish on bait, unaware of the impending doom about to come their way once they're captured by a fisherman. But in this case, that fisherman is...
If the idea of being softly massaged by two muscular sheep doesn't do it for you, sure.
Should have stayed inside, little boy. Should have stayed inside.
Zachary Latham, as of right now, was charged with first-degree manslaughter after claiming his actions were in self-defense. And unsurprisingly, Mr. Durham's wife and 2 children were charged with simple assault and trespassing, since they did in fact cross over to Zachary Latham's property and, you know, did contribute to the altercation that happened. But
you guys acted your pops to go get a body? Like, you saw your pops walking over a kid with a knife? Like, you guys, like, why you guys, like, this is what I don't get. Dude comes out with 2 knives and a stun gun, and you guys still try to fight him, and your house is right next door? Couldn't have been a black family.
Lawyers, they want the charges against the family dropped and Latham charged with first-degree murder, because their theory is basically the same as mine. As it says here in this article, Latham, they say, deliberately drew William Durham to his death in a bid for social media celebrity.
But
in
how?
a June letter to Webb McRae, the lawyers...
If his girls recording the incident and then they post it on TikTok, it doesn't mean they wanted to do it for TikTok. If you're an incident and you could get away, like, for example, if someone is approaching you and you're recording it and you shoot them and you kill them and then you win in self-defense because it clearly shows that they're approaching you and they're harming you to your talent, to like you're fearful or whatever the case may be, and you kill them and then you post it online and you get famous off that, does not mean you did it for that. Like, so don't let it get a little twisted. Like, no, I think he was amping them to be social media famous. I think the cops did a bad job of handling it. That's where the shit went wrong. But the death part, I don't know. I think he has a good chance of being in this case. It's kind of a good chance of being that part, the manslaughter. And they may have to lower that.
Diane M. Ruberton
they may have to
and
lower
Robert
that.
R. Simmons noted that
Can't fall on my with
Sarah
knife
Latham recorded the brawl on her phone and said she did so because it was her and Latham's intent to post these videos to TikTok and become TikTok famous. Yeah, pretty wild stuff. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video,
I can't hear this lore shit. I don't know about that one.
Or Instagram, so
that one's a little iffy. Or not anymore. Go follow this Mayu. He did a good job.
you can always know what I have planned next. And with that being said, it's your guy Destiny, and I'll get...
Are you tired of paying full price for makeup, kids' toys, shoes, kitchenware, lipstick, smartphone stuff,
Oh no, I'm a little iffy on
catch
this
you
side.
guys and ladies in the next one. Alright. So, in an updated report...
This is how fast YouTube is with Brave. Notice how there's no pre-roll ads? And here's how you can see how much time you save.
I read after recording this video, I found out that this guy, Zachary Latham, isn't even in jail because apparently the judge who is currently overseeing this case didn't think it was necessary to jail him until his next court date, which is scheduled to be in May of 2021. It says here, in denying pretrial detention, the order said, further, for the reasons set forth on the record,
he's a National Guard too, so he kind of has that, like, you know,
clear and convincing evidence that pretrial detention is necessary to reasonably assure the defendant's appearance in court.
Yo, he's gonna beat his shit.
The protection
He's gonna beat his shit
of any other person or the community, and that the defendant will not obstruct or attempt to obstruct the criminal justice process. The state did not meet its burden to detain, that there are no conditions that would reasonably assure the defendant's appearance in court when required, the protection of the safety of any other person and the community, and that the defendant will not obstruct or attempt to obstruct the criminal justice process. Therefore, the defendant is released on level 2 monitoring. Therefore, the motion for pretrial detention is denied. So all this means is that this kid will be free and out of jail for at least 9 months before appearing in court again, because they don't think he's a flight risk. You know, he won't try to avoid his court hearing and will come in a timely manner when they request him to do so. And you know, I kind of believe that this is just another example of being privileged in America. You know, if you fit into a particular socioeconomic background.
Yep.
And I can almost guarantee you that if this kid wasn't rich, you know, was a bit tanned on that day that he appeared in court and lived in the inner city, this judge would have had him in jail until his next court date in 2021. It's a sad reality of the imbalances between being rich versus being poor in America. But, you know,
I guess you can see it that way too.
It's a cold world out here, baby. Anyway, like I said before, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below.
That's crazy. I told you guys. That's how I was feeling a little iffy on it. I thought this nigga might be the shit. Like, look at him. Oh, he's chilling. Man, still doing TikToks. That's crazy. Because they didn't say nothing in this thing like he didn't have to. Or maybe he's level 2 that he can't be on social media. But you guys already know this from the concept, telling how you feel about it. This one is fucking crazy. Holy. This one's crazy, bro. This one's insane. Hit me on my gram. You have any more questions. Until next time.
Me like a rich bitch, limp dick, put it on your daughter and she still call a nut. Patty cake, gotta know your bitch like Johnny K. ATL pull up in roller skates, or lights on like a library.